other champions in that division. You got Scott Quinn, Carl Frampton, Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I'm gonna get the opportunity, boy. You be working your ass off, don't you?
Hey, that's what we do. That's what we do.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation. I see it, baby. Y'all the man.
That's what it is.
I love what you're doing for boxing.
Thank you, man.
Don't stop. Keep on going strong. Keep on going hard. A lot of big fights coming this year. A lot of big fights.
How do you feel about getting in there with the winner, unifying that belt?
I want to prove to the world that I'm the best middleweight ever, not ever, but in the world. I want to prove that. So if Triple G gets the victory, that's who we want.
Congratulations, fantastic win.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it looks like it's about that time, Danny. It looks like it's about that time. First things first, I want to say congratulations to Danny Jacobs. Very impressive knockout win over Sergio Mora. Let's get it straight. Sergio Mora, he wasn't a world beater. He wasn't a pound-for-pound fighter. He wasn't some undefeated prospect. But the one thing Sergio Mora is a very awkward, elusive target. Sergio Mora is so slippery. Now, on top of him being slippery, he did win the Contender Tournament, which he did very well in that tournament. But going back to his elusive style, Sergio Mora is the type of fighter that makes all of his opponents look bad because they're constantly missing shots, they're falling into clinches, and you know there really hasn't been anyone that beat Sergio Mora and did it in a really impressive fashion to where it wasn't a slow, boring type of fight. Danny Jacobs is the only person to go in there and walk through Sergio Mora like he was just a perfect target. You know, like he wasn't an elusive target is what I'm trying to say. That's what made this win so impressive for Danny Jacobs. If this fight would have went 12 rounds, that would not have been impressive at all, considering we've already seen fighters beat Sergio Mora and go 12 rounds. We've never seen someone run over the tough, very elusive Sergio Mora, and Danny Jacobs, he did that tonight. You know, what I really like about Danny Jacobs is he has a lot of power, but he is very accurate with his punches. He's very accurate with his punches. We got to see Danny Jacobs implement two different type of styles in his last two fights. When he fought against Peter Quillin, we got to see him play the role of the boxer puncher. In this Sergio Mora fight, we got to see him play the role of the attack dog, the banger, the aggressive fighter. So once again, it just goes to show you that Danny Jacobs is very versatile in the ring, which is obviously what he's going to need to be if he gets in the ring with Gennady Golovkin next. As you guys may know by now, after Danny Jacobs knocked out Sergio Mora, he immediately called out Gennady Golovkin. Now we know in the past, Danny Jacobs, he seemed a little reluctant to get in the ring with Gennady Golovkin. He didn't seem like he was crazy about it. Now he's saying that he's ready and he wants the Golovkin fight. And I believe that he does. I mean, this is the first time that Danny Jacobs actually called out Golovkin after a fight. He didn't do that after the Peter Quillin fight, and he obviously didn't do that before the Peter Quillin fight. Now he's finally calling out Gennady Golovkin. I mean, on top of that, it's getting to the point to where I believe Team Golovkin, they were already asking the WBA to pretty much either force Danny Jacobs to fight Golovkin next or give up the belt like the WBC did to Canelo Alvarez. Now, once again, Danny Jacobs, he seems like he's interested in this fight. Not only is he interested in this fight, but that, my friends, I believe is truly a 50-50 fight. I would still probably lean slightly towards Gennady Golovkin in that fight. But I'll tell you right now, if Golovkin beats Danny Jacobs, that would be a very impressive win and a step in the right direction when it comes to proving fans that Gennady Golovkin is not just an overrated fighter. Now, of course, Danny Jacobs, he's been knocked out before. He's not an undefeated fighter. That needs to be mentioned. But at the same time, Danny Jacobs, he worked his way back into position of being a champion. And now, or I shouldn't say back, in position, because he wasn't a champion before. But now he's a champion, basically. Now he's a champion, basically. And that would be a very impressive win if Golovkin were to beat or knock out Danny Jacobs. It would really obviously be impressive if Danny Jacobs was able to basically pull off the upset. I've always said, I truly believe when it comes to Gennady Golovkin, you have to, for the most part, not all the time, but every now and then you have to get on the inside and you have to get Golovkin's respect, okay? Now you could mix it up and you could go get back to your boxing, but every now and then you're gonna have to stand and deliver and get Golovkin's respect. If you don't get Golovkin's respect, he will run you over. If you just backpedal, dance, his confidence goes through the roof just off of how you are reacting to what he's doing. I think Danny Jacobs, he has the type of style that can definitely test Gennady Golovkin. Because once again, Danny Jacobs, he can move around the ring and out of nowhere, while he's moving away from you, like we seen in the Peter Quillen fight, out of nowhere, catch you with a punch you don't see and knock you out. That's the type of power that Danny Jacobs possesses. I mean, looking at Danny Jacobs and looking at Gennady Golovkin, I would not be surprised if their power was pretty much the same. On a scale 1 to 10, it may be Golovkin at a 10 and Jacobs at a 9. But once again, we're looking at things from the outside, so who knows? Who knows? It may be a 10 and a 10. For all I know, Danny Jacobs, he can hit just as hard as Gennady Golovkin. So that is going to be a very, very intriguing fight. Hopefully, it gets made if Golovkin gets past Kell Brook, which a lot of people believe that he will. But I don't know, man. I mean, we have upsets every year. And the question is, what's going to be the biggest upset this year? It could be Liam Smith Canelo. It could be Golovkin Kell Brook. It could be Roman Gonzalez versus, Quadras. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on when it comes to upsets or possible upsets, So that's pretty much all I got, man. That's pretty much all I got. Once again, I look forward to seeing Golovkin get to step up in competition. We all know that Golovkin always wanted to fight Danny Jacobs and BJ Saunders, and they weren't interested at the time, but I truly believe that Danny Jacobs is ready. I truly believe Danny Jacobs is ready. And something Kell Brook said, and I completely agree, and I believe it to a T. When he said, you have to go in there in the ring with some fear. You have to have some kind of fear, because fear, it keeps you on point. It keeps you alert. You go in there with no fear, you go in there with just straight confidence that you'll beat the guy and there's nothing he can do to you. That's usually how you leave yourself wide open and get knocked out. So I say that because I believe that if Danny Jacobs were to fight Gennady Golovkin, he would go in there with that necessary fear that you need going in the ring with a monster like Gennady Golovkin. And once again, I truly believe that's a 50-50 fight. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.